So before we get started, I'm gonna need you to mark your calendars because on the 30th of July, Sleeve Chief has a huge drop and sales, discounts, and interesting stuff is going to be happening for the entire week post the 30th. And I will be posting about everything on social media as well, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. My Twitter is always at the top of my description, and there's gonna be a bunch of new sleeves, a Sleeve Chief X POC collection, which is looking amazing. And there is also going to be reduced shipping for US customers, which is very nice and very welcome. So yeah, if you want to check anything out, of course, you can always use my affiliate link to go to the Sleeve Chief website. I do think it's down right now because they're keeping it, like, maintaining it for the grand opening. So make sure you mark your calendars for the 30th. And yeah, hope you snatch some very cool accessories. Alright, so we're continuing with the Duelist Nexus content, and I think it's too early to tell which set of the year is the best because Age of Overlord is looking really good. However, Duelist Nexus is looking like quite a strong set. So today we're going to be discussing the top 5 cards coming out of that set and how they are going to impact the meta. I think there is going to be much more diversity moving forward, which might be a good thing or a bad thing in different people's opinions. So share yours in the comment section down below if you like the diversity that this format is going to bring, and if you're hyped about any new stuff from Duelist Nexus, and also like the video if you did like it. So with the first card, we're going to be talking about Revolution Synchron. We definitely have to mention this card. There's no arguing. This card is going to push many different decks, and I could literally just count out aloud, like, I don't know, 10 decks or something. If you want to talk about some of the rogue-er strategies like ABC or like stuff like Springens or like very random stuff. However, Revolution Synchron is of course also going to be used in some of the top strategies. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. What the card is actually giving us is essentially a tuner that can be either used immediately from the hand, which is great, but it can be used as a tuner on the field as well. And it comes back as a tuner from the graveyard one more time, so you can actually use it multiple times and climb into different synchro monsters. So it's literally like a glow-up bulb, which like is a level 3 and then comes back and is a level 1, so it's serving multiple different purposes. And some of the top decks that I wanted to mention that are going to be very good moving forward, that can use this card, is Manadium among them. 100%. You can play builds with or without it, but there are some interesting combos with Revolution Synchron. And also, not to mention, we always have some kind of pile deck, right? Some deck that plays adventure, synchros, random engines, spam engines, and then just makes a board. And Vanadium is probably going to be like the go-to combo deck. However, this pile is looking really interesting, and actually it's using some of the best synchros in the game right now, and Revolution Synchron is going to be very, very helpful for that strategy. So most definitely has to be the top one, like the number 1 card on this list. And moving on, we are still on the topic of synchros. The next one is going to be Crimson Dragon. So this one is really interesting because it's able to cheat out monsters and have them actually be synchro summoned when they're special summoned out, so they are correctly summoned. They can also be summoned back from the graveyard with something like a Monster Reborn or whatever. But yeah, essentially it's like it is targeting a synchro, and then the synchro that it special summons from the extra deck has to be a dragon. But if you check out the first part of the effect, the one that it targets on the field doesn't have to be a dragon. It does have to be level 7 or higher, and the Crimson Dragon does have to be bounced in order to special summon from the extra deck, and then it special summons a dragon. So it immediately seems like it has high potential with decks like Manadium, etc. So yeah, in my opinion, looks like a very, very cool card. Not to mention that its Crimson Dragon actually has a form on the card, which is cool. So yeah, that's kind of besides the point, but the card is still really nice. And moving on to the next card, I had to mention both Pearly support cards. So the XYZ and the Trap card both look extremely cool. Like probably the XYZ is a bit better just because it's finally, there is a partner for the Sleepy Memory, which is great, and it is going to push the deck to the next level 100%. It suffered the hit, which kind of sucked, and it's still quite nice going second, and it is seeing some success and like quite high placements at the top levels of events. So with this support, I think it's going to be much better. The going first is going to be much easier, and the trap card is really nice as well. So being able to just Xyz summon, you basically target an Xyz, you get a monster from your main deck, you negate its effects, but you Xyz summon anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You Xyz summon something that has to have the same rank, but a different attribute. And then you also get to attach, another material, which is a Pearly Quick Play spell card. So like you get an additional Xyz summon almost for free, and with the new Xyz, you're also able to set trap cards. So you have more ways of actually getting to all of your Pearly cards, and I just think the support is really, really cool. Now moving on to some other support, of course I had to mention Vanadium itself. I already mentioned it a couple of times in this video because it is going to be a very interesting deck. A lot of cards from Duelist Nexus are great for that deck. But the card in particular I want to discuss right now is the Visas Amritara. Alright, so the Visas, the new Visa Synchro. So essentially the materials are quite interesting. You can actually use multiple tuners, which doesn't seem, if you like go through it, 1+ tuners plus a light monster. It doesn't specifically say that there have to be non-tuners used. The other light monster can be either a tuner or a non-tuner, which is interesting. I don't know if I've seen monsters very regularly that can use tuners as well. Like an interesting one is Chaos Angel, which is like something completely different, but this one can use multiple tuners, which is cool. Very long way of saying that the materials are very interesting for this card, but yeah, it is a Visa Starfrost on the field, which is very, very useful. You need the name Visa Starfrost for multiple different things. And as for the effect as well, it's able to get you to the spell card, and that is always a great thing, being able to dig through your engine. And not to mention that it also destroys a monster, which most of the monsters benefit from being destroyed, and then you get a plus of like getting 800 attack points more for all your like synchro monsters. But yeah, like the destruction part is really cool. The name, the materials, like everything that this card is, not to mention that it's a tuner, it's looking very strong for this deck. And there is the other like the little ball, one of the support cards as well, is really like, it's nice because it doesn't necessarily need to summon itself from the deck when it's destroyed, like Meek has to, but this one doesn't. I forgot the name, it's like Trid or something. This one only summons a tuner, which is also cool. And like I already mentioned a couple times in this video, Vanadium is looking quite strong. So we do kind of have to like keep an eye out on it and see what happens and kind of be prepared. And yeah, with that, we are moving on to the 5th card on this list. And I wanted to leave it up to you guys. So please share your thoughts about what you think is the best card, because what I wanted to mention and sort of like shout out is all of the support cards. If you look at the Rescue Ace, they are getting like an e-tally, I guess, from the deck almost, but you do have to have a card in your hand as well because it's part of the effect and it's not optional, so it's not ideal. It's not only a special summon, but it is helping with consistency. And there is the Preventer, I think it's called, which is like a Book of Moon type of effect and special summons itself by banishing a card. Also recurs the card from the banish pile. Then we need to talk about the Link one for Infernoble. And I say it like that because Link ones are usually dangerous. When archetypes get a Link one, it's kind of like, it can go either way, right? So it's interesting, it is getting the effect of the Charos and also has its own effect, so it's a strong Link one. And then I also wanted to shout out the Unchained support, which is nice for the deck. And yeah, with that, I guess I would encourage you guys to share your thoughts about which card should take the 5th spot on this list. And hopefully you liked this video. If you did, of course, like it, share all your thoughts in the comments, like I said already. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.